Hey YouTube, Ruger LCP, Sig Sauer P238. Today we're going to take a look at them side by side. I'll tell you my likes and dislikes on both of them and how I think they compare to each other. But anyways, we'll start off with the price on these two. Now the manufacturer suggested retail price on the Ruger LCP is $379, and on the 238 its suggested retail price is $679. Now in the real world, at retail, you can expect to pay about $300 for the Ruger and about $480 to $500 for the base model on the Sig P238. Now the one I have here today is actually the P238 Lady. It's got a different color than the base model, and it's got the engravings on the top and the side, and a little bit more frills on it. But all the features, the safeties, the components of this are really the same, just the different color and different. It's got some little bit of bling, I guess you could call it, on the slide. But for the purposes of this review, it's identical to the base model 238. But the first thing we'll take a look at after the price, the size, and as you can see, the LCP is a little bit shorter in height and also shorter in length as opposed to the 238. Now the LCP is a polymer framed handgun. It is a little bit lighter than 238, but of course it's made up. LCP is polymer and the 238 is metal. Another feature that stands out is the 238 has a manual safety, whereas the LCP does not. Now on the 238 they do come with ambidextrous safeties, but this one in the base model only come with it on the left hand side for the right-handed shooter, so that's something to keep in mind. But the LCP, they're not offered with safeties. On the LCP you have no exposed hammer, and on the 238 you do. Another thing that really stands out to me is on the LCP you don't really have any sights. But again, the LCP was constructed for more of a pocket pistol. They don't want it to have any smooth edges. As you can see, no exposed hammer like I brought out. There's no sights, and everything is flush fitting on the frame. Whereas on the 238, everything kind of sticks out. You have the safety sticking out, the slide lock, the hammer. You have an exposed hammer on it, and so there's a little bit of differences there. But the sights on those 238 are awesome. I love the sights. They're 3-dot night sights. You turn off the lights, these things glow in the dark, and you get a really excellent sight picture with the 238. I love the sights on the 238. Can't say enough good things about them. The LCP, there's really no sights to speak of. There's a little bit there, but it's hard to get a good sight picture on it, and not really wild about the sights on the LCP. On the LCP, you don't have much of a slide lock. As you can see, there is one, but it's hard to depress. If you're in the shooting position and you go to depress it, it's a little bit hard. It's hard to get your finger on there. It's because it's flush fitting with the frame, so a little bit harder to do it. With the 238, as you can see, real simple, real easy. Sticks out there, easy to get a hold of. Bam, you got it. The triggers on these two guns, I love the trigger on the 238. Single action trigger, real crisp, clean braking. No take up in it, just a little bit right there, and then bam, it breaks. The LCP, can't say the same thing. It's got a real heavy, long trigger. Look at that take up there, and then it finally breaks. Not real wild about the trigger on the LCP. Love the trigger on the 238. On the 238, you have a bunch of different options as far as grips. You can upgrade the grips later on if you want a different color, different style, whatever. On the Ruger, you're pretty much stuck with the same thing. But on this one, as you can see, I have the hoe grip installed with the finger grooves in it. It's a little cheap fix you can do, and I think it really makes a big difference. I like the grip on it. I definitely recommend getting the hoe grips for the LCP. But the recoil on these two, if you're shooting them, the LCP is real snappy, a whole lot more recoil than I would expect from a 380 caliber handgun. The 238 is really no recoil at all. Again, it's not much recoil on the LCP, but it's just more than you'd expect from a 380 caliber handgun. But advantage on that in that aspect of it goes to the 238. It's just got minimal recoil on it. And they're both pretty accurate. I was surprised at the accuracy of both of these handguns. For how short the barrels are, they're surprisingly accurate. The 238 is a little bit more accurate in my opinion, but they're both pretty good on the accuracy standpoint of it. The magazines, I think the 238 has a little bit better constructed magazine. They just feel better quality and a little bit more sturdier than the LCP. But they both come six round magazines from the factory. And on the 238, you can see pinky kind of wants to hang down. You're gripping it. I have medium-sized hands. My pinky kind of wants to hang down on there. But with the LCP, their factory magazine comes with a little pinky extension, which gives you a better grip. You can see my pinky isn't wanting to hang down. I get a little bit better grip with the factory magazine in there. They do come with They do have aftermarket magazines available. And the LCP, you can get the 8 round. And you can see, it's definitely not a problem gripping it then. And with the 238, they have a 7 round with a pinky extension on it. And you can see my pinky isn't wanting to hang down there. And again, this is 7+1, this is 8+1, and it kind of evens out the height on these two. You can see they're pretty much identical with the extended magazines in them. Another feature I thought was interesting on both of these, they have laser sights available. You can get laser sights for both of them. Crimson Trace makes them, and they're available on both, so it's a tie there. As far as models go, the 238, there's a lot of different options out there. I think there's probably 12 or 13 different versions of the P238. The Ruger, you just have the basic model. There's not really any other ones. The holsters, they're both pretty easy to come by as far as holsters go for them. The LCP, a little bit more options available out there to you, but they're both, there's a lot of pocket holsters that'll fit, that are interchangeable between these two. There's a lot of holsters that'll fit both of them. Now individually, my likes and dislikes on the 238, what I like about it, I think it's a little bit better built, a little bit better quality. The trigger is definitely better. Love the trigger on this. Really nice trigger. The sights on it are excellent. Top-notch sights. I really love the sights on this gun. There's a safety on it, and they do come in ambidextrous, but this one just doesn't happen to have it. You have a whole lot more options as far as models go. There's a lot of different options available to you if you go with the 238. Like I said, there's about 12 or 13 different models out there. It's a very accurate gun for its size, so it's a big plus there. And there's low recoil on it. With the 380 round, there's hardly any recoil on that 238. So those are all pluses for me on this. My dislikes on it, it's a little bit heavier. Again, you really don't really feel it, but it is a little bit heavier than the LCP, and it does cost a little bit more than the LCP. And now individually on the LCP, what I like about it is it's light, and they're both compact of course, but this one's a little bit lighter. The price, it's a little bit cheaper, a little bit more affordable, and it's accurate too. It's not quite as accurate as the 238, but it's still pretty accurate, and I was happily surprised with that. What I dislike about it is the recoil. I think it's really snappy for a 380, so I wasn't real big on that. The sights suck on this. Not real wild about the sights. And the trigger, doesn't have a really good trigger on it. It's real long and a lot of take up in that trigger. So, but if it was down to me, I'd take the 238. I love the 238s. I think it's an excellent weapon. If you can afford it, I would definitely recommend the 238. But the Ruger LCP isn't a bad choice to go with either. But if it's up to me, when I'm about to go to the store, if I just want to have a pocket pistol, I normally carry a full-size 1911. But if I just want something to grab quick, I'm definitely reaching for the 238. That's just my opinions on it. And like I said, if you can afford it, go with the 238. If not, LCP, not a bad choice either. but advantage 238 in my opinion. But anyways, I think that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. And until next time, y'all have fun and stay safe.